My name is Katrina, founder of Whole Family ADHD. We work with parents of children who have ADHD to overcome struggles and stigmas and form a more cohesive family unit. This video is about being whole, which has a double meaning for us here at Whole Family ADHD. The first is the importance when working with children to always look at the family as a whole. Never just focusing in on one person, one condition, one diagnosis, one aspect of life, but holistically looking at each person within the family dynamic. The second is what it means to be whole as a person, and that is what we are going to focus on in this video here today. I want to start this video with a quote from Jane Fonda. "The challenge is not to be perfect, it is to be whole." What a beautiful quote. So I want to ask a question. How has the attempt at perfection plagued you? Yes, plagued. How has the attempt at perfection plagued so many of us? This need to meet unyielding expectations, to fit in, to keep up, to succeed, to be victorious, right? The need to be the best, to be the winner. And what is really specific about this need is that it's not the need to be the best version of ourselves, it's to be better at something than someone else. That's a fundamental tenet of success in our society. Highest grossing salesperson, beating everyone else out for the job, having the fastest car or the biggest house, being the best person on your sports team, having the smartest kid, or the most popular kid, or the kid who's the best at sports, or even just trying to keep up with the Joneses. And you might be saying, of course, that's how we strive to be our best. That's how we know we've made it. And striving to be our best is commendable. The focus of this video is what is the motivation behind the desire for any specific success. What metric are you attempting to achieve and why? Oftentimes, the desire for success muddles with the desire to be whole. We think by achieving one, we achieve the other. And see, this is where Jane Fonda's quote is a little misleading because the challenge is not necessarily to be whole. The challenge is accepting that you already are whole. Boom. We are born whole. We are born worthy. We are born loved. I just want you to think about that for a moment. You are perfect just the way you are. You are not broken. There is nothing in your life that you need to fix. You are loved. So if you're thinking to yourself, lady, no, that is not at all how I feel right now. The reason is because we are also all born humans, which means we've experienced layers of generational expectations, of rules, guidelines, and all of those expectations and rules and guidelines mix and mingle in our subconscious and our conscious minds with what we would otherwise know to be our true selves. And because we choose to try and define ourselves by these rules, meet and exceed expectations, adhere to these guidelines, even if we do succeed at some external metric, we may feel that pieces of ourselves are still missing. So then what do? We go in search of our true selves to find our true purpose. But what if this was less a grand expedition and rather a decluttering exercise? Rather than going in search of yourself, you first looked inward and began to identify what rules and expectations you were trying to live up to that are just not true to who you are. What would be revealed if all that clutter was just kicked to the curb and the true you had the space and energy to shine through? That is one of the core modules we focus on at Whole Family ADHD. So now you may be thinking to yourself, well, that actually sounds amazing, but what does that have to do with parenting, and specifically parenting a child with ADHD? Everything. So if we know that you were born whole, worthy, and loved, then we know that your children were born whole, worthy, and loved, regardless of a diagnosis. That if nothing is broken in your life and you are perfect just the way you are, then we also know that nothing is broken in your children's lives and they are perfect just the way they are. Now again, you may be thinking to yourself, this lady is crazy. My kids need a lot of help. Sure, they may have a few lagging skills that they need to develop and strengthen over time. You may have to be a super parent to help them grow those skills. You may need to employ a team of professionals to help them grow those skills. You may also be missing opportunities for them to grow in to who they really are. And those are several core modules of the Whole Family ADHD coaching program. But now you can see it changes the nature of the conversation when we respect that our children are born with these amazing, unique personalities and character strengths. And the same goes for you as the parent. You have your own unique gifts and talents, and you need to be encouraged and celebrated for your gifts. Imagine growing up being celebrated for being uniquely you. Imagine knowing you're worthy for being you, that your worth is not dependent on any external metric. What would that have felt like? What does it feel like? You don't have to find yourself. You need to begin by removing the layers of other people's expectations and rules. And the same goes for our children. If they are encouraged, they will find their North Star, their ability to navigate in this world when they're allowed and respected for being themselves. And if you're wondering why this video is also included in the trigger series, when we stop and think for a moment how often we are triggered emotionally by feelings of being flawed, being inadequate, being imperfect, being less than, being unloved or unlovable. I mean, if we knew in our heart of hearts that we are perfect and we are whole just as we are, that in fact nothing is actually broken in our lives, that we are in fact deeply loved, that we don't have to keep up with anyone, imagine how much more emotionally centered we would be. And imagine how fewer things in life could trigger us because we would not be on an emotional pendulum swing. And then imagine teaching that to your children. That is the best gift we can offer our children, for them to grow up knowing that they're whole, worthy, and loved just as they are, even when they frustrate us. Sometimes especially when they frustrate us, because it starts with us. It starts with the parents. That's why our motto is heal the family, heal the world. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Visit us on our website at www.wholefamilyadhd to learn more about our one-on-one coaching programs for parents of children who have ADHD, and look into our future workshops, and join us on Facebook. We look forward to seeing you and your pack again real soon.